Welcome back to Same Right Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful slanted flare gown, as you can see right there, with plain fabric below it. Okay, so if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to be making use of my Ankara print. So my Ankara print here is 6 yards, and out of these 6 yards I'll cut out 3 yards, but I'm cutting out 2 yards right now for the bodies and 1 yard for the sleeve. Okay, so you need just 3 yards. So I finally separated the 2 yards right now. So here I have 1 yard, 1 yard. So everything from here to here is 2 yards. So I'll pick up this part and I'll also fold it again to meet up what I have here. That is for the second time. So you can see the first one I folded and the next one. So I'll be using this part to serve as my center front, center back right now, while this is the part that will have our sleeve. So now for the center front, I'll put it this way. So this part now is unfold and unfold as center front and center back. So the first thing I'm going to do is to rule my border line, which is the starting line. And this border line, I'm going to rule it, and from here I will take my measurement of the first my chest line. So my chest line is at 9. After my chest line, the next I'll be needing here is my hip line. This is my hip line at 29, and the next will be the full length of this gown. So it depends on where you want. So I will use the whole of this Ankara for the full length. So I'll come over here to mark out our neckline. So I'm marking both back and front neckline. So I'm using 3.5, and back neckline I'm using 1 inch. So I'll go ahead and connect my back neckline this way. So this is the back neckline. Then for the front neckline, I'm going to come as deep as 8 inches. So it depends on how deep or how high you want it. So we can do 8, we can do. So if you want to follow what we have right there on the thumbnail, because it's a little bit high, let us do 7. So from this 7 inches unfold, I'll just come in by 1 inch. So if I come in by 1 inch, the next thing I'll do is to connect my neckline from that 1 inch, because it's actually going to have a collar. Now we are going to measure the shoulder divide by 2, then add half an inch. My shoulder divide by 2 is 7.5, plus half an inch is 8 inches. I'll also come over to my chest line and measure the same 8 inches. Then I'll connect with a straight line. But before I connect, make sure you drop your shoulder by 1 inch before you connect. So I'll just go ahead and connect. At the 1 inch drop now, I'll just connect from there. I'm going to connect, find the midpoint, go in by 0.5 for the back, and go in by 0.75 for the front. Then I'm going to connect and connect. Then after which I'll come over and take my bust circumference divide by 4. So my bust divide by 4 is, I have it at 10. I'll just go ahead and add 1.5 inches for both seam allowance and everything to it. So I will connect the back and the front neckline to that point. So I'll first take the back and connect, then take the front and connect. So this is what I have. So at this 1.5 which I added now, I'm going to connect it as an A line. From that point, it's going to flow as an A line like this. Just go ahead and make an A line to the hem of this. So you can just use a long ruler to achieve that effect. So after that is done, we are done. So the next I will do is to cut out what I have. So to cut out what I have, I'm cutting the back neckline first. Please don't cut everything because you make a mistake at that point. So you can see I've cut out the back neckline. Then I'll add my 1/2 inch seam allowance and cut out the back armhole. So after cutting out the back armhole, I've already added my seam allowance, so I'll just go ahead and cut out at a line. So I'll just take it all the way to the 2 inches a line. Okay, so you can see this is how it's going to look like. So now I will open up a sort of, so I'll just take off the back. So I'll just take off the back, and then if I take off the back, after joining the shoulders, so it is necessary you join your shoulders so you'll be able to turn the whole dress to the front before we mark out the slant. So I have it turned to the front. So from the side you want it to start slanting, make sure you arrange it very appropriately. So I'm glad I still have my hip line here, my hip line measurements. Still have my hip line chalk line here. So from the hip line on the side of the left hand side, just go up by 3 inches, and on the right side from the hemline, just come up by 5 inches. So it depends on how you actually want it to slant. So I'm going to place my ruler this way. So if you have a straight ruler, fine and good. So take it like this to that 3 inches. So I could have loved to use my straight ruler pointing to that line, but I believe you understand what. So let me just get a straight. Gone ahead to use my long rule to rule that part. Now I'm marking out 60 inches parallel to each other. So I'm going to cut out that piece, okay, and place it on another fabric and extend the line. So whatever color of fabric you want to use, just go ahead and do what I'm doing. Add your 1 inch for hemming and 1/2 inch on top for sewing. So I'm cutting it out right now. I've marked the midpoint as well. Now I've already joined the plain fabric to the Ankara. So the next thing I'm going to do is to trim off the excesses and take the measurement of the neckline. So I'm folding it into 2. From the center back, I'm taking my measurement. Please so make sure you make a notch collar at this point for ease of it, and I've hairstay it as well. So the width of this collar is 2.5 on fold. Is 2.5 as you can see. And the length is the measurement we measured 27. I even made it 28. If I have excess, I'll simply cut it off. So I just make a notch at the center back this way, and I'll come over to the center back of the dress as well. So here I'll just mark out a notch at the center back. So I'll just go over and match center back to center back. Then I'm going to sew from there till I get to that point, okay, where I have my notch. The same with that. Let me do that, then I'll show you what next to do. So here you can see I've stitched all around. Can you see? So I stitched to the end of where I have the notches. So just stitch to the end of where you have the notches. Then after that, we'll push this in and push that in. So once you push it in, automatically you see what we have right there, automatically. So you just hold it down and open up this way, open up this way, and do what? Secure with your pin. So I'll go back to my machine now. I'm going to run from this point, my stitch, to this point. So make sure it relaxes nice and flat. So I'm going to run a stretch stitch from here to here. So but I'll pin it down first before I stitch. Stitching on that point. Next is to trim off the excess. That's why I told you it's better to have an excess than a shortage. So this is what we have on the neckline. Can you see that? So you can go ahead and make your neckline as long as you wish. I've said it before. So the next I will do is to close the size of the dress. Then we'll sew the sleeve. So the sleeve is actually a puff sleeve. So I'll just go ahead and sew my 1 inch down. Then we'll come over to the sleeve. Now I'm done. So you can see I've closed up the sides to the end, okay, and I did that to the slanted part as well. So we want to sew the basic sleeve right away. So for the basic sleeve, like I said, you are going to use 1 yard. So this is my 1 yard. I place it on the other 45 length of it, divide by 2. So just do what I'm doing right here. So once I fold my 1 yard, what I'm going to cut here is for 1 sleeve. I'll place it on the other part of the sleeve and also cut. You can also decide to fold it into 2. So I might decide to also fold my 1 yard into 2. That's this way again. So if I fold it this way again, I'll be having 18 inches on my length, like this, which is the 1 yard. Can you see? Okay, so I'll just leave 2 inches for the band. So once you fold your 1 yard into 2, you are supposed to have 18 inches, but here I have 16. I left 2 inches for my band. So now this is the folded part of the 2 sleeves, and this will serve as the sleeve head. So just go ahead and measure from here 1 inch. Okay, sorry, from here just go ahead and measure 5 inches, or let's do 6 inches from top here. Mark 6 inches, and from here mark another 6 inches. So once you have done that, you are going to connect it. You find the midpoint of what you have here, which is 3. So I'm going to connect my sleeve like this. Just look at what I'm doing. You see how I connect it into that 3 inches, and then I'll blend it to the, because it's going to have a puff and gathers, so that's why I connect it that way. But another thing I want to do is, instead of this 6 inches, we can go a little bit from here. You can go ahead and measure what we have. So here I have 22. half of it is 11. So it's better I do it what I'm doing here at the midline. So I'll find my midpoint here. So instead of doing this, I'll go all the way like this to the midline. Please do like this, is better. So we'll now have all the puff on this point. Then coming over to the hem of the 1.5, it depends on how you want to gather. So for me, I'll just gather not too much. I'll just do 13. Let me do 13 here. Okay, so if I do 13 plus seam allowance, I'll connect it up to this point. So in other words, from here to here, I connected is 18, and on the hem is 13. But you can still go ahead and measure, let's say 16 on the hem and connect. So we'll have enough gathers right here. So any which way is fine and good. So I'll just go ahead now, cut from that point this way. Okay, so and then cut this way. So I don't want too much of it. It depends. If you want much puff, you can go by the first one. If you want less puff, you can go by the second one. So let's do what we have. So you see we have 2 sleeves here. So I'll just make a notch to it. So I'll go over now and gather the up, gather the down. So we are going to have this on the length of this sleeve, as you may see here, is 16. So when we gather it, we'll push it up and we'll have it around the elbow line, okay, or a little above the elbow line. It all depends. So if we are having it a little above the elbow line, or if you want it at the elbow line, please add 5 inches to your elbow length. My elbow length is 13. If I want it at the elbow line, I'll do 18. Okay, if I want it above, then you do what I'm doing right here. So I will just come above my elbow line and I'll take the measurement above my elbow line. So if I do that, I have 13. So my cuff is going to be cut at, I'm going to cut my cuff right now. So and I'm going to cut it at 14 because I'll seam the size. So I'll cut it at 14, and the cuff width I'm using 2.5, so which is 5 inches. So I'll just go ahead and cut from this point. I'm cutting okay, so let me cut 15. And by the time I shaping it, I have what I need. So this is my cuff, and I have the cuff here at 15. So I'll just fold it this way, and that is how I'm going to sew it to the elbow line. After making my gathers, I'll sew it right here like this. So I'll cut two. These are my cuff, and these are my sleeves. So I've gathered the sleeve, the upper piece. So for the upper piece, I want to just make a little adjustment. I was thinking it has a puff at the upper part, so I'll just loosen off the puff. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. I was thinking it has a puff, but I looked at the picture very well and it does not actually have a puff. So since it does not have a puff, and I've already made a puff for it, so if you want to make a puff, you can follow me. So what I'll do is just to make a little puff, because I've cut it in a puff way. So I'll just make little, just insignificant cuff. So when I'm going to sew, so this is my notch. So I've just made little puff. So I will take the measurement of my round sleeve right here. Okay, then I'll cut off the excess. So here you have to make this part the way I made it, because it's going to, I'm going to sew it right into this cuff. So for the cuff, just match right side to right side, stitch and turn. I've stitched it and I'll turn it. So this is how you are going to turn the cuff, like this. The same with this, like this as well. Okay, so you can see the cuff is ready. So next is to come over to the sleeve. So like I loosened out a little of the cuff, so I have checked my basic sleeve, and this is where it terminates. So I'll just cut off the excess. So the hem part remains the same, this part remains the same. So I'm just trimming off what I have here. So I'll go over now and close it up, sew this to it, and then attach it to the dress. Now you have to go ahead and sew the cuff and sew the sleeve to the dress. So I've attached the two sleeves right now, and the dress is ready. So I believe this class was helpful to you. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop a comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you once again. See you in the next class. Bye.